Ken Jennings has penalized a Jeopardy contestant over a response that fans felt was perfectly above the board the first time on Wednesday's episode. Alex Lamb was dinged $1,200 after the Jeopardy host asked him to specify a last name response despite not typically doing so. Ken, 49, is hosting a 3-week-long second chance tournament, which kicked off season 40 last week. Past contestants who initially lost are battling it out for an unexpected second chance at greatness. Last week, Parameswaran won $35K in a slot in a subsequent tournament, which will air directly afterward. The special is now in its second week, and it was time to see the last finalist of the week would be. Tam Sung, a physician-scientist from Amherst, New York, faced Alex, a data scientist from Lake Forest, California, and Brian Ross, an attorney from Los Angeles, California. In Double Jeopardy, Alex selected the $1,200 clue under The Real Wives of D.C. Ken Reed, she met the future president in 1938 when they both tried out for a local play in Whittier, California. Alex buzzed in and guessed, "Who is Nixon?" Ken didn't accept it and replied, more specifically. Alex responded, "Richard Nixon, oh, sorry." His face went from realization to regret as it seemingly dawned on him that he specified the wrong Nixon upon Ken's clarification request. Ken ruled, no, cutting him off. Alex's score dropped to $3,000, and his challengers got to buzz in instead. Brian got it as Pat Nixon. Pat Nixon, that's correct, Ken said. They should have accepted Nixon. Even if it didn't impact who won, fans on Reddit were displeased with Ken's decision to ask for specificity as Richard Nixon only had one first lady. The widely understood rule is that if a last name only refers to one person, the first name isn't needed, but if there is more than one person the clue could possibly be referring to, it is needed. One person wrote, "That is bizarre. What other first lady with the last name of Nixon did they have in mind that would be a plausible response?" Another wrote, "I came here to make this exact same comment. It seemed really unfair and illogical to me. I'd understand for Barbara Bush, since there are two first ladies named Bush, but a first lady named Nixon could only be referring to one person." A third agreed, "I really do think they should have accepted Nixon as a response." A fourth wrote, "I guess if you replied Mrs. Richard Nixon it would have been accepted." A fifth posted, really did not like to be more specific on the Nixon clue. The clue already had a she. The theme of the category was already set. Just didn't make sense. As far as the actual game goes, probably not a major effect in this game. But in the long run, it sets an odd precedent for these sorts of things as long as the show goes without its writers on hand. Alex wrote in the thread, "You can imagine that once I answered Nixon, my mind pivoted completely to the next clue. So when I was asked for clarification, I got caught flat-footed, and that's how it goes. Should have paused and answered." Another user even linked to a recent game where last names for first ladies were accepted. Last season, a contestant was deemed correct on Who Is Dischannel by Ken for a clue looking for Zooey Deschanel, despite her sister also being an actress. Later on in the game, Final Jeopardy! Read, in 2022. The Department of Energy noted a flawed process and vacated a 1954 commission's decision in the matter of this man. All three players had no trouble guessing Oppenheimer, and Pam, who found both latter daily doubles. Missing one, getting the other jumped $5,000 to win with $20,000 even. Everything to know about Season 40. Jeopardy! S Monumental Season 40 premiered on September 11th and will run until July 26, 2024. Ken is hosting the entire season solo, and Mayim Bialik, 47, is not involved as it stands. She bowed out in solidarity with the strikers, a big shakeup since she and Ken were tapped to split hosting after Alex Trebek's death in 2020.